Hey, welcome Spiceheads to another Spiceworks video meetup. Today we're joined by Trusted Tech Team to learn a little bit more about Office 365 licensing. I'm your host today, Matt Eturi. Looking forward to hanging out with y'all today in Justin's absence. So before we get into today's presentation, let's do a quick round of introductions. We got some great guests today. So first up, we're joined by Joe Fabrie from the Spiceworks community. Joe, welcome, and tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi Matt. Thanks for having me on. I'm a military vet, 5 years active duty plus reserve time. I work for a small engineering company named PowerPros. We do testing commissioning services for power generation, power transmission systems. So I take care of pretty much all their IT needs, everything from licensing to fixing their printer jams like I did yesterday. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Joe, and looking forward to hearing from you a bit later. Next up, we're joined by Julian Hamood. Julian, welcome, and tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, definitely. We should have done a Joe at the very end. He seems much more interesting than myself and David, but Southern California native, went to school locally down here, graduated from Cal State Fullerton, and just got integrated into IT by building computers when I was younger, like a lot of the IT pros. Building and flipping computers when I was younger, started doing sales from there, and then family, friends all started asking for my services, and again, the similar path as many Spice heads. So,
great. Well, welcome, Julian. And last but not least, we're joined by David Spencer. David, welcome, and tell everyone a little bit about yourself as well.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks for having me. So my path to Trusted Tech Team is a little different. I grew up as a PC gamer, which kind of naturally evolved into the will to learn and understand everything that I worked with on the daily. And obviously, eventually, I landed in our industry. Now, today, I function as the operations director here at Trusted Tech Team. So my goal is to ensure kind of a smooth experience for everyone that we interface with. Part of what that means is I get to untangle the mess that is licensing and translate it into something for our customers to understand. Luckily, I get to be on here today and share, some of what I've learned with everyone here.
Great. Well, David, we're looking forward to learning from you as well today. Before we get going too much further into today's event, I did want to let everybody know about some housekeeping. So just exploring the console here, we have some great widgets. To the left of our faces, you'll see some speaker bios and some great resources that Trusted Tech Team has allowed us to give to y'all today. One note, that bottom resource there, the Office 365 Solutions Guide, Joe, did find a little misprint there. So we're going to get that updated here in a few minutes for y'all. I'll let y'all know when that's corrected, and you'll be good to refresh so you can get that most up-to-date version. Below our faces, you'll see the Q&A widget. In that Q&A widget, we invite y'all to get your questions in early. Let us know what you want to hear from our panel today, and we'll get those questions over to them a bit later. And then to the right of that area, you have the group chat. If you don't see that group chat currently, feel free to pop it open with the orange icon at the bottom of your screen. It has a couple little chat bubbles in it. We want to welcome all of our favorite Spice heads in there. We got Native Texan, Dim Forest, Angie, Ed IT. Welcome, everyone. Looking forward to hanging out with y'all today. I just did want to let everybody know that the chat does follow the community guidelines. So let's keep the pro and IT professional and looking forward to hanging out. And then finally, we're giving away a great prize today. That prize is a Veridesk Pro Plus 36 and a Mat 36. So you can get your standing desk on at your home or in your office. We'll be giving that prize away to one lucky Spice head in attendance a bit later at the end of the show. So stick around for that. All right, well, that's all the housekeeping I have. So let's get into today's conversation. So first up, this question is for David. David, what are some of the main reasons for switching over to Office 365?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. First off, there's a bunch of reasons. The main one that always comes up is going to be cost or accounting. It's always going to be a driving force no matter where you go. As an IT pro, it's always going to be an uphill battle to convince the person writing the checks. There's a few different, because it's so important, there's a few different methods I want to talk about on what, ways to go about it. Number one is making costs more attractive by leveraging value adds. What you can do is bundle services that you currently have segmented. I'm sure a lot of you utilize Google Drive, pay for G Suite, and on-prem Office. What you can do is go with an Office 365 subscription that consolidates those, utilize OneDrive. Another big method is mitigating costs, so cutting down cost via consolidation, using benefits of 365 to essentially make it cheaper. The biggest one right now that we see, it's actually a big reason people move over, is the ability to use multiple devices. Most of the 365 plans come with 5, 5, and 5. So you can install on 5 different workstations, 5 tablets, 5 mobile devices. So you're talking, up to 15 devices per person. Whereas with on-prem Office, if you buy a standalone version for someone's home and workstation, you're already losing the battle there. And the third piece that I want to talk about as well is comparing costs in accounting purposes. Comparing Office 365, it can be categorized as an operating expense, whereas on-prem, they're capital expenses. Whenever you're convincing or trying to get funding for this stuff, mentioning, hey, there's tax benefits, always helps. Operating expenses can be 100% tax deductible, whereas capital expenses, they have to be depreciated over time. So that's something you can always put in your back pocket to help with updating your technology. It's perfect for those of you who are kind of looking at upgrading from Office 2010, which is coming up end of life here soon. It's something that really gets the conversation going. Obviously, there's a few other benefits. Julian, hey, I'll go ahead and pitch it over to you, and you can talk about some of the other main reasons for switching.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Dave. So you guys, we wanted to orient more along the lines of, talking to the spice heads and talking to the IT pros. A lot of you guys have actually been acclimated to the Microsoft 365 portal. It's just portal.office.com. And seeing that licensing Office 365 is not just 365 or Microsoft Office as a whole anymore. It's a feature set of applications included with it, such as Azure AD, device management, cloud app security, and Exchange Online. So it's no longer you selling Office to your CEOs or higher ups. It's literally selling like a package of features and applications that better the company itself. Other than like the management layer that again is completely inclusive for IT professionals, maintenance. So those Office compatibility issues that you would have on your employees' machines, completely gone. You're always, as we'll discuss, you're always receiving the newest version of Office, and again, universal scheduled updates throughout for Microsoft Office. So you're essentially pushing updates after hours. There's no more disruptions in the workday anymore.
Yeah, great. And Joe, let's go to you next. What has been your experiences with Office 365, and what have been the major impacts and benefits for your organization?
Yeah, so it's been great. I mean, we migrated back in 2013 to 365. We started with the business premium plan, and then we upgraded to the E3 plan to get some of the extra features that it had in there. So I would say that don't discount the quote enterprise plans just because you're a small business. There are features in there that aren't that much more per month that are valuable to our users that we enjoy. I love the provisioning. It's easy to get users in and out of the system. If we hire or fire, you can buy a license at a year at a time if you want to save a little bit of extra money as well as they offer that. It's been a great experience though. I mean, I like it. So
great. And Julian, what other impacts and benefits could other IT organizations see from Office 365?
Yeah, definitely. So 2 different benefits we'll cover. One on the admin or the IT professional side, and the other on the user side. As Joe mentioned again, the 365 suites, it's controlled via the portal, and again, you have security and compliance control all integrated into portal.office.com. On the user side, you can allow the user by themselves to install Office, of course, designated by the IT. So Steve from with the engineering degree, you can either allow or decline them to install local installations of Office. And then again, you have Office Online. So instead of the employee actually reaching out to the IT professional every time they want elevated privileges in Office, you can allocate those directly from the portal. So again, you're essentially managing everything through an advanced administration portal. And just taking a step back and looking at the universal benefits of Office 365 for organizations, uptime rates. So in excess of 99% uptime. And again, all the expensive server and backup hardware completely removed off-prem. So no longer have to pay for the electricity costs and all the hardware, back in the server room that hasn't been cleaned out in ages. And then also power outage, hardware failures, all those limitations are completely removed out of the environment.
Great. And I think next let's talk about some of the challenges or points of confusion around the licensing. Julian, can you speak to that a little?
Yeah, and I actually wanted to flip this a little bit and ask Joe. So in 2013, Joe, you mentioned that you were able to integrate your company into a business premium plan. How was the pitch to the CEO or the higher ups at that point? What were the challenges that you actually were like fighting? And again, I would say 2013 is definitely like an early adopter for 365.
So for us, it was actually easier. The CEO owner actually wanted it in the first place. I also pushed it. It was. Yeah, I got really lucky actually. I also pushed it because dealing with the licenses, if we had to wipe a machine and I had to rearm an Office product, it was a pain in the butt because I was out of my activation codes. I have to call in, put in the 25 character key, get the 30 character response back, and it was just a pain in the butt. With 365, you don't have that. Users can self-manage their licensing, and it makes it so much easier. But the sneakiest reason I think IT should push it is that you don't have to worry about the fear of upgrade. I mean, I don't have to worry anymore about like, oh, I have to push to get them to upgrade and pay more money. No, it's a subscription model. You're already paying for it all the time.
Yeah, definitely. And again, going off that, usually like adverse, the CEO and the higher ups actually don't want to move to 365 and all different reasons. And, cost is always a factor as David was mentioning, but moving to the cloud and the apprehension of actually moving to the cloud, IT professionals, we've followed the trends of cloud, management security, and we realize that it's flipped. It's so much more secure. There's such a strong, level of control over the quote unquote cloud. But the CEOs of these, either large or even small companies feel that it's flipped. There's no security and there's a strong lack of control. Also, there's no way to back everything on premise, and there's just so many tools that are now available. When it comes to either, if you prefer backing up on premise, you can do so with the Veeam backup. And again, just starting to explain the benefits of the cloud. Another big thing was, and we see a lot of the, Spice heads and also CEOs face, but the fear of migrating older software, especially, Exchange 2007 or 2003. But again, over time, especially over the last like 3 to 5 years, tools like Migration Wiz and Skype have came out that they take a pretty much majority of the legwork out of those migrations, and there's support available everywhere. Even Microsoft wants everyone to move to the cloud, so migration support is pretty much everywhere in Microsoft as well. So, and one of the
so I was saying, here's one of the things though nowadays is that gone is the era of buy something and hold on to it for 10 years until it dies. This is the era of constant innovation and upgrades. If you're not innovating and upgrading, then you're behind the times. And sticking with the purchase model, the one-time license purchase model, is going the wrong direction. The subscription model helps you keep up to date on everything.
Yeah, definitely. And again, just instilling that in a CEO or the purchasers of hey, the company is going to begin falling behind or has already fallen behind because we're not integrating into the feature sets. Microsoft's been pushing this for so many years, and we all remember when we had an apprehension of 365. We all did. And then just starting to see the tools and utilities around not just Office. It's no longer just Office 365. There's so many layers behind that. And just beginning to see that is enlightening, especially for a CEO who's driving the direction of the company. So.
Yeah, great. So I think let's go to David next. David, can you walk us through some of the primary options for licensing?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to Office 365 specifically, you kind of break it down into three different categories. However, just to preface, it's purely going to be dependent on the features and the services you need. Like you mentioned before, don't disqualify yourself because the suite says enterprise. It could actually be perfect for you. But that being said, you have small business suites, you have the enterprise suites, and you have the a la carte options. The small business suites, they're focused on the Office applications and the features included. They're geared more towards small businesses that are kind of looking to get the most mileage out of their Office procurement. There are three of those. There's the Business Essentials, Business, and Business Premium. Like I mentioned, it's going to be based on feature inclusion. For example, the Business Essentials plan does not allow a local installation of Office. However, if you have a scenario where you have mostly people on the road and Office Online works best for them, then hey, that might be the one for you. Beyond the small business suites, we have the enterprise suites. Those focus on the service inclusions along with Office. They're geared towards organizations that are kind of like graduating from being a small business, and the services in there that they're bundled with are focused on enhancing communication, collaboration, and security control in organization. There are four main suites there. There are many others, but for the most part, you have Pro Plus, Office Enterprise E1, E3, E5. Those are going to include services like SharePoint, Exchange Online hosting, OneDrive, Skype for Business. Depending on how much of that, who needs it, and how much of those services you need, that's going to drive what suite you end up going with. And then the last category is the a la carte product services and add-ons. These allow you to take exactly the bundles, the pre-built bundles, and perfect them. You're the one that kind of knows what your business needs are, and these extra pieces allow you to, take it from works very well for you to perfectly crafted for your company. You have the products like Project and Visio, Power BI, services, along with SharePoint Exchange. You have things like Microsoft Teams, which is like group chat, very similar to Slack. You have Yammer, which a lot of people don't really know exists, but it's a kind of a social networking platform within a company. You have Stream, which is video hosting service, which Microsoft does now. Then you have the add-ons. You have the Office 365, the Advanced Threat Protection, basically extra security. You have the Exchange Online archiving for those moving from an on-prem version to, in the cloud. You have, basically kind of add-ons to put you at ease. All of these things, you basically piece everything together, like I said, to get your desired licensing bundle. The one thing you always want to remember, though, is it's usually going to be cheaper to utilize suites when you're building this stuff out. It's kind of like when you sign up for home internet. Most of us, we just want the internet, but hey, if it's going to take $10 off the bill, sure, you'll take the home phone service. Like Matt said earlier, we did include a PDF resource, which we're just going to fix one flaw in, but that can be used kind of like as a quick reference guide with some of these services and features included to help you kind of get on the path for choosing an Office bundle.
Great. And Joe, did you have any thoughts or experiences to add to kind of your experience with all the different options around licensing?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy, actually. I mean, it's a moving target, honestly. I was talking to the guys that it's one of those things that just because you buy, say, a B1 plan or an E3 plan now doesn't mean you should ignore it for the next 5 years. They're constantly adding new features and changing things up. So what may be good for you now might be better. Like, oh, I might be able to go down to a lesser plan, or you really realize, more importantly, that you're probably missing out on a lot of great features that they've added in. So I highly recommend for any admins out there with Office 365 to sign up to the email alerts that tell you when new feature changes come out, which is almost daily. I think I get an email like 12 items of things are upgrading and rolling out in the roadmap. It's pretty awesome, actually.
Great. And I did want to let everybody know that that resource that David had mentioned we're updating is now up to date. So if you want to do a quick refresh, you should be able to download the most up to date. So I'll let just give a second or two for everyone to refresh real quick so that they can see that up to date resource there. While that's going on, David, I think let's kind of go back to you. And I know a lot of companies, have different groups of users that have different needs and need to use different products. I know, here at Spiceworks, we have, graphics teams and video teams and lots of different teams that do different things, obviously. So can you talk to us a little bit about how to choose the right option when you do have that diverse user groups?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing, obviously, you want to do is you want to kind of get your boots on the ground. Talk to your users, figure out what they need, figure out maybe where their problems are, check out where some of their inefficiencies might lie, and see if you have knowledge on services that come with Office 365. You might be able to handle some of those problems that they never even told you about. So the first thing, you got to speak with the users. But I mean, the licensing is tough. There's no way around it. But what's great is when you talk about licensing 365, everything is evaluated on an individual basis for the users. That means you can drill down and you can get each specific person exactly what they need. So if you have a CEO that wants all the bells and whistles, or if you have a developer that wants a very specific set of products, you can do that without compromising the cost for everyone. If you were to take your licensing allocation summary and print it out on paper, it can look like a nice, neat little grid, or honestly, it can look like a Frankenstein of products, services, and it can look crazy. But hey, that's the great part about it is it's extremely customizable and it is scalable. So you don't have to, there's nothing you really have to give up in terms of cost in order to get everyone exactly what they need to do their jobs well and in an efficient manner.
To jump in, that's one of the great things about it is the time to purchase and provision is extremely short. Even if you deal with an MSP, and I send an email to my MSP, hey, I need a new license for project. 5 minutes later, she says, okay, there you go. I go in, click a button, I'm done. That was super easy. And the fact that, for the large organizations, getting away from the enterprise agreements where you're locked into so many licenses, like, sorry, we only have 5 project licenses, you can't have it. You don't have to do that. Somebody comes to me and says, hey, I need project, approved. I said 5 minutes later, I'm done.
Yeah, great. Oh, that's awesome. So I think, Julian, let's go to you. What can people look for to kind of figure out if they're overpaying for the current licensing structures?
Yeah, in all reality, you really don't know if you're overpaying for your licensing unless you ask another advisor. It's just like buying a car. You go to another dealership, check it out, whether you're currently consuming or you're looking at an estimate and a quote. Ask around. Every advisor is going to have different recommendations, and take it as is. You're the professional. Evaluate those different advising needs and whatnot. And again, as David was mentioning, the one size fit all. It doesn't really work with 365, and there's so many options where you don't have to go to a one size fit all. Maybe in 2013, when Joe was looking for business premium, maybe the entire environment was business premium. But then as he continued to roll through the environment, there was new employees who just needed email. So hosted email at a fraction of the cost, a third of the cost. So again, continue to receive a customized solution for 365. It's going to keep the cost down as low as possible. Every user is going to get what they need. And again, you can scale as time needed. It's literally such an easy change from moving a user to hosted email to a full Office suite with hosted email.
That was actually one of the reasons why we moved from business premium to enterprise was the more a la carte options, especially like I said with the just an email account for $4 a month is a great deal just to have an email. In fact, I have one for my Spiceworks help desk. Is I use just an exchange only plan just for that.
Yeah, great. And also, Joe, you've been with Office 365 now for 6 years, right? What
Mhm.
have you done over the years to make sure that y'all are getting the best bang for your buck?
Like I said, the biggest thing is, I mean, especially lately, I've been subscribing to all the updates that come in from the admin portal. Whether it be well, Yammer. I don't. Nobody uses Yammer. Sorry. Teams, Office, things. I saw something in chat mentioned about Yammer. What's the point of Yammer? But it's supposed to be like a Slack type message board. But now they've migrating into Teams, so that's another discussion. But yeah, no, it's. I don't even. I've lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
Just what you've done over the years, checking in and making sure your
Oh,
licensing. Yeah.
yeah, like I said, just pay attention to what new additions Microsoft is adding into their products. Like lately they just added in, I believe, more security features into their E3 and E1 plans. Actually, they didn't have. They used to be only part of the E5 plans. So those are some value add benefits. In fact, I think they just released some new business premium plans, like $20 a month, that has like a lot of the same features as like the E3, E5 plans or something. So I mean, it's constant. Like I said, it's a constant moving target that you gotta pay attention to, because there's a lot of benefit that Microsoft gives you for your value, for your dollar. I mean, you're getting enterprise class services for pennies, really, that you get.
Yeah, great. And Julian, I think Joe had mentioned earlier that he gets his licensing and stuff through an MSP. What about those MSP and service providers? How easy is it for them to manage their licensing for their different clients?
Yeah, definitely. So a little different with end users direct. Again, you're managing the organization's Office 365, so everything is pretty much just organization wide. When you take a step back, you have MSPs who are reselling the service. The only thing is, typically, they manage everything through distribution and portal.office. So they have a global admin. They're able to log into the account, and that's how they're managing the licensing. Recently, especially in the last, again, 2 years or so, there's management portals that are developed for MSPs. So you now have an overview looking down into all your end users and all their employees as well. So simply put, just the management portal. The majority of advisors now have it. Test drive the management layer. That's really the best recommendation I can give to IT professionals. So from there, the management will you can pull invoices, billing, affix different cards to each end user. You make seat modifications directly from the management portal. And again, end user management. So you can essentially dive in. If an employee of one of your clients or tenants is having issues, you can dive in directly from the management portal and make modifications accordingly.
Yeah, and like I said, we started off as a direct buy, and we just moved to, I think, last June. We just moved to an MSP, and I would say don't be scared to move an MSP. The pricing is the exact same, but the difference is now you have a person you can talk to, which is always the point of a VAR, a value-added resellers. The value add is somebody you can call directly. You know them, you talk to them. They take you out to lunch, and they can also provide those extra services that you may not get in that personal touch. So it's really good deal, I think, to go with an MSP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Use the
definitely.
services. Again, you're paying for consumption. Those services are included. So if you're not keeping, Joe, you do an amazing job. I've never had someone actually subscribe to those updates. I don't want any more emails in my inbox. So you're doing an awesome job, man. Most of the IT professionals, again, we don't keep updated. Years go by and there's no updates. So just touching base with the advisor or asking your advisor to touch base with you. Again, that they're getting paid for the consumption of those seats. Use them as much as possible. It's free.
Yeah, definitely. And David, let's go to you next. How does Trusted Tech Teams make it easier to manage your customers' licensing?
So we take an MSP approach first. So because we focus our business with other businesses, and we've kind of gone through the ringer, we know what makes it difficult as an MSP to work with your end users. So we focus our approach on letting you do your job, letting you basically focus on the management aspect, and then we focus our experience around the part that you guys don't like, the billing, the invoicing aspect, having someone as a resource, those things that you don't get if you go through Microsoft directly, we try and offer because we try and eliminate those pain points. Historically, as an MSP, when you start to work with end users, and you started billing directly through Microsoft, and holy cow, it can be a mess trying to keep everything straight. Okay, you know, this customer is being billed this amount, this one's being billed this amount. I think, is this the right invoice? That can be a huge headache if you're working not, you know, on it for your organization, but for other customers. So by taking that approach, we try and simplify the experience and make it so our customers have a single view into who, you know, what their subscriptions are, what they're doing, and they can easily basically tell them apart, along with, you know, providing a face, someone on the phone, that you get to speak with the same kind of person every time. All of those things combined kind of takes away your headache as an IT pro when you get a request to, hey, I need more licensing, or I have some new employees. Normally that's something that's met with a pit in your stomach. Oh, okay, that means I have to call Microsoft now. Here we go. We try and basically take that out of the equation. Joe, you're nodding your head like you've had that experience, you know. And I think that's that's the exact reason why I feel like we move over to VARs, because we can offer services, or we understand what, you know, the pain points are on that more micro level that Microsoft will ignore sometimes, but we'll focus on it because our, you know, the demographic of our user base is a little different.
There are two other things that I noticed about going to an MSP/VAR over direct billing with Microsoft. Is one, with direct billings, we're using a credit card. Each license was a separate billing entry on our credit card report, which is kind of annoying. Yeah. So if you've got 10 different things you're licensed for, you're going to get 10 different line items on your bill every month. Versus an MSP, I get one unified bill, so it's a little bit nicer that way. And two, another thing you get with MSP you don't get with direct billing from Microsoft is through MSP, they have that back-end access to the higher level tech support directly. So if you just say, hey, Julian, I've tried this. I know I don't want to deal with Tech 1 support. Can you push this up, and, you know, your MSP can help you with that.
Definitely. And again, elevate through your MSP. Going back to the whole facet of you're paying for consumption in your MSP. If there's any support issues, run it through your MSP. Have them elevate it for you. Have them answer any questions. If they can't answer it, have them get you the support that you need.
Yeah, great. Well, I think it's time to move into some questions. We got a ton of questions here, so I want to make sure we leave plenty of time to address as many as possible. So yeah, let's get to this first one. So Dim Forest is asking, how is it possible to overpay for Office 365? Isn't everybody paying the same amount per license? So Julian, how about you take that one?
Yeah, definitely. So you guys, when we say overpay for 365, not necessarily on the price per seat, but paying for things you're consuming that you really don't need. So if a user's only utilizing their email, they don't really need an Office plan included, downgrading that business premium to a hosted email account, that's saving you anywhere from $6 to $7 a user. So just being able to look at the environment as a whole and determine what users need what, that's, you know, based on the premise of you overpaying for licensing.
Yeah, great.
And one advantage of that, though, too, is with 365 is that before, if you had an enterprise agreement or you bought an on-premise copy of something, you're stuck with that copy. Versus 365, you realize, oh crap, you know, I didn't actually need Office for this person. You just deprovision the license and stop paying for it. So, you know, it's a lot more flexible in that.
Great. And this next one's coming in from Computer Nations 1. How are people working within environments where the Office 365 software is different versions of software between, say, 50 users? So, David, I think that one's a good one for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's something that was a problem historically with on-prem when you had, you know, people with 2010, 2013, 2016. On the admin level with Office 365, you have the ability to control what update channel these things go on. So you can go the annual, semi-annual, or, you know, basically the monthly channel. So if you have users, and you know best what type of users you have, if you think they can't handle changes to, what Word looks like, then you put them on the annual channel, and that's it. You have the users who, oh, it's not on my desktop, I don't know where it is. Okay, well, now you have the control on that. So, while Office 365 constantly updates and you get new features, it is a double-edged sword, but the great thing is you get to choose. Whenever you have the ball in your court, you get to go with the option that works best for you.
Oh, great. And Joe, I saw you nodding your head there. Have you had to deal with that a lot?
Yeah, but mainly revolving around themes and colors. I know people were talking about in chat that why in the world would Microsoft choose light on lighter light as a theme, or white and white on lighter light? It's just like, come on, people, where's the contrast in your themes? But anyways, it's it's just ridiculous. I know Sim was laughing if you know what I'm talking about. But no, it's nice though. I mean, like I said, you can choose your channel that you want, and the channels go all the way out to long-term service branch, which is more like your on-premise licensing updates, where you don't get an update, but once every, I think, is it 2 or 3 years? What's the update, the time frame for long-term service branch? It's something long, but yeah, you've got a lot of flexibility, and you don't have to do it organization-wide. You can do it by users and user groups, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, absolutely, you can. So yeah, you can set your developers on the monthly channel, and you can set your standard users on the long-term channel. Yeah, that's, we keep saying it, but it's customizable, which is great.
Awesome. And this next question coming in from Frank: if I move one user from Plan 1 to Plan 3, say, to give them more space, do I just buy the license and assign it? Is there any downtime before they see that new space? David, if you want.
Yeah. Again, David will elaborate a little more, but it's literally as easy as increasing seat count on SharePoint Plan 2 or hosted Exchange Plan 2, assigning it to the user, and then just removing the Plan 1. There's zero downtime, so the user doesn't even know anything's occurring on the back end. And absolutely, just again, modify in the portal, or if you're working with an MSP, the management portal that they provide, it'll push directly into the portal.office. You'll change over that licensing and then remove it. The entire process takes less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like Julian said, it's very simple, and that's always a worry with downtime when you're upgrading or changing over licensing. But it's done in a way to where it is seamless. Even if you are going from one product to another that has a significantly larger feature set, we've had people go from things like Office 365 Business, which is kind of just the Office apps, go all the way up to E3. All we do is select those users, flip the switch, exchange out their products, and to be honest, they don't have to do anything. If they kept operating as is, they would never even know. So it's to the point where you can, as the admin in the organization, you can make those changes without the worry of people start hammering your phone. Hey Joe, this isn't working. What do I do? Why isn't? Yeah, that not a worry. So you can.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the name of the game is to keep the employees as quiet as possible. We don't want to hear from the employees. Just let's work ahead. So
definitely. Well, great. So I think this next question coming in from Mike IT3. What is the differences between each of the E levels? So E1, E3, E5, and how many Office 365 admins can we have with each of those?
Yeah, you guys will just briefly overview the 3 plans. So again, 3 enterprise plans. So these can be used on companies, organizations who have 1 employee, 300 employees, or 1,000 employees. There's no limitation on the amount of employees in the company. Just because they're deemed enterprise, again, there's no classification. There's no count. We have customers who have 5 employees who are using the enterprise suites. Now, diving to the question, E1 is just your basic email and calendar. You have a few other features, including your OneDrive for Business. And the other feature set is Office Online. So pretty much email, Office Online. Now, when we take the next step to E3, and the MSRP on E1 is about $8. Now, moving to E3, we're looking at about a suite that's around $20 or so. Now, you have all the features included. So you have your hosted email. You also have your Office Online and Office desktop applications. Included in there, though, there's a ton of other features. So they elevate you to a 100 gig mailbox instead of the 50 gig mailbox. Again, your local installations are now terminal server compatible, so you can install them on a terminal server. Now, going into E5, again, that adds all the features of E3, and it gives you a few other features. So it's mainly around the security and backup features like advanced threat protection and customer lockbox, but you also get a Power BI license and Skype integrations. So there's a bunch of different small features that are included in there. Majority of the customers we work with settle in that E3 suite, and then we'll qualify them up to E5. We'll start at E3 and then qualify them down if they only have users who just need email.
Here's a pro tip. Actually, there's a few services that that if you just get one license for that service, it actually basically enables it for your entire organization. I think Power BI is like one of them. So you can kind of just game the system a little bit by getting one license of something and enable it for your entire organization.
Yeah, that's actually a we ran across that something recently. It was regarding the two-factor. So Office 365 just natively these subscriptions, you as a user can enable two-factor, but then there's a product which is the cannot remember the name for the life of me, but it basically allows an admin level to deploy two-factor across the organization, and it was there was a thread
Azure
about
AD
it.
Premium 2, I think.
Yes, yes, that's exactly it. So they were told by Microsoft, say, hey, you only need one license, you don't need 100, and it something that kind of went against what the normal thought process was with the licensing. But when we kind of went and explained it, is well, the functionality is already there. So when you're buying one license, you're essentially buying one license for the admin, and they're getting basically the feature to deploy the two-factor across the board. So that's why you only needed one for the admin instead of 100 for all the users. And that actually is a prime example where if you don't dig in and figure that out, I mean, you end up spending, I think it's $2 a user for 100 users, then bam, you're throwing away $200 a month if you don't ask or find it out. I'll see if I can find that thread and link it in here, but it's something that it's extremely helpful. It's just a prime example of needing to dig in and see if there are different ways to leverage the services and save yourself money at the same time.
Yeah, to answer the admin portion of the question, it's unlimited admins. It's just like Active Directory. You provision who has what rights. So if you want to make 20 admins, you just give them the rights. So that's up to you, really.
Yep, and then you can also segment it by department as well. So you can have an admin in each department. Really up to you. Again, no limitation, as Joe was mentioning.
Great. And next question coming in from Robert here. Can I give a user admin rights to install locally through the portal?
So, yeah. I'll grab that one. Yeah, you absolutely can. Like I mentioned before, you can choose who you want the ability to do that. Your users best, but that'll be done. When you set up an organization, users through Office 365, they all have a web login, and they can log in at portal.office.com. And as long as that feature is enabled, they sign in. The first thing it says, welcome. And there's a nice button that says install your Office apps. And so as long as you can, trust that person to handle an install, which is a slippery slope itself, then yeah, they absolutely have that ability.
Yeah, it's not really permissions you give anybody. Just by giving the license, it gives them the ability to manage their own installs on the portal. You still have to have local admin rights on the computer to do the installs. The 365 doesn't require the users themselves to have any administrative rights to gain access to the software itself, to the installers.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So if they're at home, then yeah, they'll always have the ability to do so.
Great. And this next question, let's go to Julian. So Shirley KSBBBS is asking, any suggestions for those of us in the nonprofit world?
Hey, Shirley. Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, the organization, we first determine the organization, the needs of the organization, just like we would do with commercial. The only thing that really changes with nonprofit is pricing. You guys have modified pricing. But other than that, again, we qualify the organization identical to commercial based on the needs of the licensing and of course, the employees. So absolutely, again, work with an advisor, get onboarded and work with the advisor. They'll have your price tiers. Just mention you are a nonprofit, and again, the rest will be qualification process between you and your MSP or advisor.
Great. And this next question coming in from the man that some people call Tim, T. Roberts too. Is there a way to install on a shared PC where users normally don't have Office 365? Maybe just webmail, but still need to open docs in View. So David, let's go to you on that one first.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something when you're installing on a shared PC, you utilize the Office deployment tool with 365, and Microsoft has actually made a nice little page that creates a config file for you. So when you deploy via the deployment tool, you shared computer to one, and you can install on something like a terminal server that will allow the users to use the applications. During that configuration, you can also choose the applications that get installed, the channel. You can really customize it to get exactly what your users need. So that way, hey, you don't want them logging in the terminal server and doing their general Outlook stuff, then you can choose just to put Word on there so they can just open those documents and send it out, or Excel, what have you. So yeah, that Office deployment tool is extremely handy, and especially the web app that Microsoft made for the configuration file. It's an XML file. They'll build it out for you, where I want to say about 6 months ago, you actually had to build it out by hand, which was no fun. But yeah, back to the question, you can absolutely do that with the shared computer licensing. It's actually a pretty painless process now.
Great. Joe, anything to add there? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I know we have tech laptops that we use that I actually have one Office account that I use to share the 5 licenses across 5 machines. So I'm saving a lot of money on that. And I've noticed that I've logged into Office with my tech account, and if somebody else logged into the machine, they still can access Office because the copy of Office on the computer is still licensed to the tech account. So I haven't seen any issues with that. I don't know if I'm missing something on that or not, but so far it hasn't caused any problems though for us.
Great. Well, cool. All right. Well, next one coming in here. This one, let's go to Julian on. A long one here from Monjim. I think Office 365 is a bit of a cash cow for Microsoft. I recently had to do a comparison for a client comparing Office 2016 against Office 365 over the 6.5-year period until the end of support for the 2016 Office product. 365 was nearly 4 times more expensive, and what is going on with Office 2019 with the end of support being the same as 2016. So a lot to unpack there, Julian. Help us out.
Yeah. Definitely. I actually was looking at this question. I wanted to answer this one. So the perception is 365 versus perpetual licensing. You're breaking even by around the 2nd year. Again, that's the perception that everyone had, including myself, as a business owner as well. It didn't make sense to buy 365 versus perpetual. Then you start looking into the features that are surrounding it. So take a step back and forget about Office, look at the features that are included outside of Office. It's literally everything you need in your organization. You have no more on-premise server required. Everything is being hosted for you and again managed. You have such an elevated tier of management that's never been seen before. So again, I always recommend take a step back outside of Office and don't just compare Office to Office, because perpetual licensing it's going to be a more cost-effective solution if you only look at Office. So that's again to answer that question simply. And again, it definitely it took me 3 years or so to actually get acclimated to that thought process and try the licensing out, you guys. So there's trials available for all suites. Try it and have your IT roll it out into the organization. And I can guarantee you will not go back. So you'll start looking at the feature set as we have discussed. Also, the Office 16 versus 19 end of support, because the perpetual licensing is going away, whether we like it or not. Whether you acclimate to 365 now or later, it's going away. Adobe did it. Microsoft's going to do it now. It just doesn't make sense as an organization to keep perpetual licensing in place, granted the issues that it causes. So on a cost effectiveness standpoint, again, perpetual licensing versus Office 365 strictly Office is always going to be more beneficial cost-wise. But again, integrate into it now. It's now getting to a point where it is mainstream. When Joe onboarded in 2013, I would say he was an early adopter. Now, I really do think you need to start at least sampling with some of the feature set in Office 365.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention that if you're really comparing apples to apples, I mean, it's technically the Office itself for the on-premise Office is $12 a month. So it's $144 a year. Over 3 years is $432 for one license. But you get 5 licenses with the Office 365 subscription. So you really have to look at it that way. That's the at-home benefit for your users if you can provide to them for next to nothing. Not to mention, like you said, the subscription model is the way to go, because I mean, what do you want from a company? You want them to innovate. You want them to give you new features. Well, they can't really provide that with the single purchase licensing model. It doesn't really work that way. This gives them a constant revenue stream. It makes it a lot easier for Microsoft and other companies to provide you with new features and better security on a timely basis. Gone are the waterfall days. Long live the sprints.
The spreadsheet with the license key codes. Yeah.
Oh God.
I don't think anyone misses that for sure. Well, cool. Well, next question coming in from Carlos. Carlos is using Google Business. So if he just needs Microsoft Office alone, Word and Excel, can he share Office between users with just one license? Let's go to back to Julian with that.
Yeah, yes, we were actually doing the same thing. A few years back, we were using G Suite, and then we needed Office as well. So we onboarded with Office 365 Business, which doesn't come with the email. It's just a local installation of Office. From there, we actually migrated into a full integration of Microsoft services. But absolutely, if you just need local installations of Office, there's a plan, again, a 365 plan. You can still utilize G Suite for your storage. You can use Drive or, again, your email as well. Literally for no matter what you're utilizing right now, there's a plan for you. And then there's plans moving forward if you decide to integrate into them. So completely up to you.
Great. Yeah. There's a piece I'd like to add on to that too. When we talk about shared licensing, Office 365, it's based on user licensing, and if we talk about perpetual, it's device focused. So when we talk about evaluating what's going to be cost effective for you, the one thing I know is Microsoft generally is always going to provide two different ways, two different licensing models. You see it with, if you know SQL licensing, then you've seen it there. But it basically allows you to kind of choose what's going to be cost effective for you. So if you have a situation where you have one system and 10 people using it, well, 365 is going to be user based, whereas in that case specifically, an on-prem license actually would probably be cost effective for you. But as long as okay, then you don't get all of those other benefits. So when we look at a snapshot today, most people, it's going to be cost effective for them to go to 365. There's still going to be cases where it's not.
All right. Well, last question in here come in from George Soul. He's saying that he recently changed over to an MSP, and this one uses a portal separate from the Microsoft 365 dashboard. Is this a normal practice to have two portals to add and remove users? Whoever would like to take that one, I'll open that one up.
Yeah, I can grab that one, unless Julian, unless you want to take
it. Let's let Julian follow up.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, it is common practice, absolutely. There are a few companies right now who kind of have that consolidated. Like I mentioned before, when you have two different focuses on what you're trying to accomplish, the Microsoft 365 dashboard is built for the admins, for the people who are actually managing the users. But it's, like I said, it's not as pretty for the billing aspect, because the products are billed on different time frames, and it can get messy. So when you have an MSP, and we do the same thing, and that's why I wanted to tackle this here, is essentially we have our portal, which allows you to view your customers on a basically a per company basis, but ours is more focused on the billing, the invoicing, the management aspect, whereas you still have the ability through the Microsoft portal to drill down into and assign licenses out to users, and assign parts of a suite to users. That you're going to find more functionality there as an IT admin, whereas going through like a VAR or an MSP, when they have a second portal, that's the exact point of it, is to have more of maybe a billing focus or a service focus through there. So it allows you to kind of get the best of both worlds, because kind of building a one size fits all, with the amount of features that 365 has, it's going to be very hard to do it. So yeah, having that kind of two portal approach can actually be very, very beneficial.
And Julian, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, the same. Again, it's as a direct CSP partner, you're essentially injecting the licensing into the portal. So you're using the portal to manage the users. You're then using the MSP management portal to modify seats. So yeah, really, really common. Once you get acclimated to it, again, you'll just start using it as frequently as possible. And there's some cost saving that goes along with it as well.
Awesome. Well, now we are starting to run out of time, so just a couple minutes left here. I did want to get some final thoughts from each of you. So let's start with Joe. Joe, what are the key takeaways that you want to leave our audience with?
Biggest thing is definitely don't be afraid to try it out. Don't, there's a lot of great points to sell 365, and try not to get hung up on the like I said, the pricing. It's like, oh, this isn't as good as perpetual pricing. Yeah, but like I said, the subscription's the way it's going to go, and we got to find some clever ways to. It's just all in the wording, basically, is what it comes down to. You can sell it. You just got to word it right.
Yeah, definitely. And Julian, you next. What are some closing words from you?
Yeah, so you guys, if you're not there yet with integrating into 365, get some more information on it. Again, try it out. If you're just about there, contact an advisor, have them hold your hand and walk you through the process. But now is definitely the time to start thinking about it. It's long gone where, hey, I'm putting this to the side, I'm not going to think about it. The organization is going, the growth of the organization is going to be stunted if the move does not happen. And again, there's going to be a lack of perpetual licensing available in the market here coming up very, very soon.
Great. And David, what are your final thoughts here?
Yeah, so I mean, I know we've harped on this a lot, but don't be afraid to reevaluate. That's the thing I always tell people. You can take a look, honestly, every 6 months, just every week. New things are coming out. Because technology changes so often, and what Microsoft puts out, we're in an age where this stuff, is changing and updating and improving. So, where 365 might not have worked or been cost effective for your organization, a year ago, 6 months ago, there's a very good chance that it is today.
Great. Well, thank you, David. Thank you to all three of you guys for some great conversation, great content, and great information for our audience today. I want to thank each of you for joining us, and as well as Trusted Tech Team for sponsoring today's event. So I think now let's go ahead and announce the prize winner of the Veridesk Pro 36 and Mat 36 standing desk. So the big winner is John Waite. John Waite, remember to PM me in the community, Matt Y, and we'll get that prize sent out to y'all, or to you, I should say. And with that, go ahead and close out today's video meetup. We had a ton of questions in there, so if we didn't get to your question today, keep an eye out. Trusted Tech Team will be able to follow up with you. I know Joe is in there right now answering what he can, so thanks, Joe, for helping out with those. I do want to remind everyone, Trusted Tech Team has given us a couple assets there in that resource list to download and check out. So make sure y'all click on those and keep those for your reference. I know that second one there was updated, so it should be _1 to have the most updated version. So if you just want to do a quick refresh, make sure you got the most up-to-date one. That would be great. And with that, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today. It was great having y'all all. Looking forward to hosting another video meetup with y'all again soon. Again, thanks to Julian, David, and Joe. Looking forward to doing another one with y'all as well soon in the near future. And with that, I just want to remind everyone to check out upcoming shows from Spiceworks. You can either click on that orange button there or just wait around until the console closes and you'll be driven to our calendar page. And with that, I want to wish everyone a great rest of your day and keep it spicy, everyone. See you next time.